Ipob lawyer Ejemako threatens to sue anyone linking Biafran group with violence in the southeast. Ejemako said this in a tweet on Monday, in which he reinstated his earlier stand that Ipob was a non-violent group, adding that he would do everything within his realm to protect the image of the association. Barrister Aloy Ejemako, special counsel to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has threatened to sue anyone accusing the group of causing the violence around the purported sit-at-home incident in the southeast region of Nigeria. He said, "I consider it my core duty to clients, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Ipob, to say this. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Ipob are still committed to the principles of non-violence. As from today, if you publicly accuse Ipob of using violence to enforce the sit-at-home order, prepare to meet me in court to produce your evidence." Interesting. He considers it his core duty to MNK, which is actually Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and Ipob, that's basically his priority. In May 2022, Sahara reporters had reported that Aloy Ejemako and Nnamdi Kanu reacted to a viral report by the BBC World Service centered around the activities of the group. The BBC report titled Ipob, Nigerian media warriors calling for killings over Ipob, Nigerian media warriors call for killings on social media over Biafra, had chronicled events showing how agitators had called for attacks against those considered enemies of the campaign for Biafra independence. According to the BBC report, many of these agitators are currently based outside the country, from where they stoke violence in Nigeria via their podcast and streaming on social media platforms. The report, which exposed activities of some individuals, further claimed that some of the media warriors were being paid either by Ipob or by supporters for the work they do, and we saw their broadcast in which bank details for Ipob were shared to solicit donations from followers. While reacting to this, Aloy Ejemako exonerated the group from the claims, stating that Ipob he represented had no connections with media warriors calling for killings. Very interesting. And I think, it's especially when you look at BBC's involvement in giving news and looking back at history and looking at how the British were technically very involved. Of course, we got independence before the whole Civil War, but it's like, you're a platform giving out news, right? But history also records your involvement and the role that you played during the war, during the Civil War. So it's a bit like, for such a body, you'd expect, be a bit more careful in terms of what you put out there, especially when it comes to the impressions of Ipob, because it's basically, in agreement and in line with what Nigerian journalists and what Nigerian press and media already talk about Ipob in a very, like terrorist manner. These people are terrorists, they're violence, they're this, they're that. So what that does is now, a big media corporation, right, such as the BBC, come on now, right? So it's like, it's not helpful when a big body like that also ties into the same narratives that the Nigerian government and Nigerian media, press onto Ipob. You'd expect that they'd be a bit more careful. But it's very funny because you can see the, correlation and alliance between the Nigerian media, press, propaganda, and also the BBC, because they're basically promoting the exact same narrative, which of course is a problem. And it's not BBC Nigeria, it's BBC World. So it's because when you understand history, I think, I'd say, rather than thinking of the narrative they told you about the war, because they made it look like, oh, Igbos are secessionists, because that's basically what the BBC, promoted at that time. So it's, for, if you understand history, you'd really think and say, wow, the absolute audacity of this corporation, because they were such a tool, especially at that time where, with media and all that, like, especially if they were going to give updates around the world, they were like one of the only, powerful tools at the time. And so as a media corporation, fine, but being owned by the British and their involvement, and it's you really question, and you'd say the absolute audacity. And I think, you realize that, wow, the world that's going on, and the stakeholders involved, it's not as easy as saying, oh, we're just going to split or restructure the country, as they say. But yes, I think it will take a lot. I think it's becoming a media war, especially with Ipob and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that I think they need as big and influential media corporation that would sort of, cleanse or, counteract such, allegations and propaganda narratives against them. Because, sorry, but Alhaji Mako cannot be out here speaking every time. I feel like the man is already stressed, being, the lawyer for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course Ipob as a body. Like, I personally think he does not need that. I don't think it is his job to, defend and always come to, because yes, he can be the official lawyer and spokesperson, yes, but in terms of the image that's put out there for Ipob, he can't be the person every single time. I think there needs to be another media corporation that is as big, that can also, help to curb this narrative. Again, they have Radio Biafra and they have their own platform, so it would be the best that they do it there. But, in terms of mainstream coverage, they need something a bit more powerful. Put what you think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.